Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here, and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today, guys, I'm going to be continuing my AFL 2024 round reviews and round previews. Start off with the previous round review, and then into the round previews. Starting off last Thursday night was Western Bulldogs that responded, defeating St Kilda by 60 points at Marvel Stadium. This was definitely not St Kilda's greatest outing, and for the Western Bulldogs, well, it's definitely one of their best. Essendon defeated Adelaide by 3 points Friday night at the Adelaide Oval. This game definitely had its controversy around it. However, with Essendon kicking 10-18, they were the better of the two sides comfortably. First game Saturday, Collingwood defeated Port Adelaide by 42 points to, well, really go back to playing their best footy of 2023, winning a big game in the MCG by 42 points just to show their back. And Carlton, well, they defeated GWS by 19 points. Yes, the Giants didn't have no Sam Taylor, but this was not their best day in Carlton. This was a brilliant day for them. Brilliant win and a huge win from them. Back to their best after a little bit of a disappointing performance against the Crows the week prior. A wet Saturday night game saw Geelong cruise to a 26-point victory over the Lions in a performance stamping that they are such a good side and can play in anywhere, any conditions. And the Lions, well, again, 4-13, they did kick in accurately. Also, Saturday night, West Coast continued on their winning ways, defeating Fremantle by 37 points in the Western Derby. And then to Sunday's footy action, Sydney defeated Gold Coast by 53 points to kick it off. And Hawthorn cruised to a 45-point victory over North Melbourne to finish off the round in the winless two sides battle, which the Hawks got off the bottom, and Melbourne and Richmond had their byes. So here is the ladder at the moment. Geelong are the only undefeated side on top of the ladder. There's a couple of equal sides, Sydney, GWS, Carlton in second, third, and fourth. And then North Melbourne are the winless side, the only team yet to register a win at the bottom of the ladder. But Geelong do have a big game against Carlton, which it'll be interesting to see whether they go undefeated in that one as well or not. And now the Coleman medal, Jesse Hogan is on top with 21 goals. Charlie Colonel in second with 20, and Jake Waterman, after having another brilliant day in the Derby, he's now in third place on 17 goals. Wednesday night footy kicks off the Anzac round, and is going to be Richmond versus Melbourne. Anzac Eve at the MCG, always such a great game of the season. Whether these two sides actually have a great game or not will be interesting to see. But of course, just on the footy calendar and just for the day itself, such a huge day. Now, Richmond going into this game 16th on the ladder, Melbourne 6th on the ladder. Of course, it is a 9-game round. Again, this round's getting some 9-game rounds for the next few weeks until the byes starting round 12, I believe. So it's going to be great to have full 9-game rounds. And Wednesday night footy is a rarity, but it's going to be Richmond and Melbourne at the MCG, both off the byes, as I said before. Richmond have got a couple of big inclusions into the side, including Hopper and Grimes to be returning for this game, which is definitely going to help them. But their last game was against West Coast, where they lost that one, and Melbourne lost to Brisbane. So both coming off of probably disappointing losses for both these two sides, where they'd be liking to make up and win this game. Now, I think Melbourne are just the better of the two sides. I think they'll just show their class. I think Richmond, as they did in this fixture last year, will hang around for most of the game. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. The Demons don't normally score, but I think they will win by 29 points in this one. Thursday, Anzac Day footy is going to be Essendon and Collingwood at the MCG. Of course, another huge day on the footy calendar, and this one is going to be a great contest. Essendon has started the season off very well, sitting 4-2. Collingwood are mid-range at the moment. I believe they're 3-3, and are looking to make a charge after last week. They played awesome against Port Adelaide. And Essendon got the job done over Adelaide, where they did find themselves trailing at some stages. In the end, though, they got the win. Kicked 10 goals, 18, but they did look very good last week, and the week prior as well against Western Bulldogs, they looked good as well. So Essendon definitely going to be hard to beat in this one, but I do think that Collingwood are just the better of the two sides. I think their class will shine through on Anzac Day, and I think they'll get the win by 18 points. Anzac night is going to be GWS and Brisbane at Manuka Oval. This was also a fixture last year, which the Lions won, but of course the Giants, we know their red-hot start to the year has gone very well. Now, they start off the year very well. A couple of poor injuries in the last couple of weeks, and a couple of unlucky things have turned on them. Jesse Hogan will be free to play. Not quite sure about Toby Green at the moment, though. But Jesse Hogan, the Coleman medal leader, is free to play. No Sam Taylor, though, so they're still going to be going into this game a little bit undermanned, are the Giants. Now, the Lions last week will be disappointed with their effort against Geelong, kicking 2 first-quarter goals and only managing 2 more for the game. I think the Giants will be too strong here and win by 11 points, but I do really think this could be a 50-50 game. Definitely a game which the Lions could respond and show what they're made of. Friday night footy in Adelaide. Port Adelaide versus St Kilda is a Friday night game at the Adelaide Oval. St Kilda last week would be disappointed with the performance that they went out there and put out on the footy field, because that's not what they normally do. They are normally a better side than that, and they know it as well. They have had unlucky fixtures, though. I think it was their third game in 11 days, so sometimes things just fall against you, and another prime time 6-day turnaround, it's not the greatest for St Kilda at the moment. And Port Adelaide, well, huge game for them. And look, last week was not their greatest. They started well and just couldn't finish it. I think they are going to win this week back in Adelaide against the St Kilda side that did struggle last week. Now, St Kilda will probably come out and play their best footy, because normally when a team needs to respond, they do. But I think Port Adelaide will win by 40 points and show that they are back to their best. North Melbourne versus Adelaide is the first game on Saturday. This one at Blunston Arena in Tasmania. North Melbourne are the only side in the competition yet to win, with Geelong being the only one yet to lose, but North are yet to win. And Adelaide, well, they've had a tricky run to start their year, but it's not getting any easier with North Melbourne, Port Adelaide next week, and then Brisbane, and then Collingwood isn't too far away either at the MCG, so it's a very tough stretch for them. So if they want to, which, look, their season is probably done, but you got to bank wins anyway. And this is a game which you simply have to win. And North Melbourne, well, this is a game that they are a chance in. They do know the conditions at Blunston Arena pretty well, but I do think the Crows will be too strong and win by 46 points. But I do think that North will come out and put on, hopefully as well, some effort, just to show that, because last week was definitely very disappointing against the Kangaroos, so they do need to show something, and I think they will. Geelong Carlton is a twilight game, the MCG. This is a cracker. This is going to be a brilliant game. Geelong and Carlton. Geelong undefeated, and well, Carlton against, like, Adelaide wasn't their best, but last week against the Giants, they played really good footy. And when Mackay and Kerner get into things, they are red hot. Now, Geelong, they're a tough team to beat. They're playing a home game in the MCG, of course, against a big Victorian club in Carlton, and this just couldn't be any better for a huge matchup. Now, this is such a 50-50 game. It's going to be such a good one. You've got like two sides that are in really good shape, two sides that are flag contenders at this stage of the season. I think Carlton will win this game. I just feel like Carlton will win. Geelong are going to have to lose at some stage, and I think this will be their week where they will lose. I think it'll be a great game. I think the Blues will win by 5 points, but you've got Hawkins and Cameron at one end, Mackay and Colonel at the other, and then two really good red-hot sides at the moment. This is going to be a brilliant game, but Carlton by 5 from 1. Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs, Saturday night at Optus Stadium. Western Bulldogs did respond last week against St Kilda, but they do have a tricky trip west to face Fremantle, who wouldn't be overly happy with their loss last week, and it wasn't. It should have been more than what it was, because they only lost by 37 in the end, but West Coast were up by about 60 points at one stage, so they should have lost by more, and in the last quarter they did actually play pretty well, but West Coast were trying to shut the game down though. And the Western Bulldogs, well, of course, we know they responded, and it is a tricky trip west, so this is another 50-50 game. I think Fremantle will definitely be looking to bounce back. But I just feel like their scoring is a problem, and the Western Bulldogs defence has been good at times this year, held up last week, and they've done pretty well throughout the season to limit some sides to not scoring too much. And if you're getting a shootout with the Western Bulldogs, it can be hard, considering their forward line is good, and it all went well last week as well. I think the Dogs will win this game by 9 points, but this one could really go either way. First game Sunday, Gold Coast versus West Coast at People First Stadium on the Gold Coast. This one is a huge game. Gold Coast, as we know, their form's been 50-50 this year. They've won one really impressive game, and then they've lost another one by a lot. They've won another game by a big margin, then they lose one by a similar margin. That's exactly what happened. They defeated the Hawks by 53 points up on the Gold Coast, then lost to Sydney at the SCG by 53 points. So it's hard to get a read on how they're going. Up on the Gold Coast, they're playing really well, and they're making that stadium a fortress. But they've got to bank a couple of interstate wins if you want to get an elimination final at your home venue, which is what Gold Coast would want at a bare minimum as well. Now, West Coast, they've been really good over the last few weeks. They have played really good footy. Their midfield has shown up, so I think West Coast will be very competitive in this game. I think Gold Coast win by 26 points because, as I said, they're very good up on the Gold Coast, but I think West Coast will definitely be in this game. And the final game of the round is Hawthorn versus Sydney at the MCG to finish it off. The Hawks won that battle of the winless against North Melbourne last week pretty comfortably. Could have won it by more. And Sydney, well, they destroyed Gold Coast at the SCG, showing that their rough form before a bye and then that bye came at the time they needed it, and then they managed to put the Suns away pretty comfortably last week. Now, Sydney, they are a great side. Travelling to the MCG, of course, this week, of their most recent MCG memory was that disappointing loss to the Tigers by 5 points. And then before that, it was the win against Collingwood. I think the Swans will just be too strong here, winning by 38 points. I don't think this game will be anything special or something. But the Hawks, they do know how to produce a good upset. They did do many last year, so this could be a game which they could win and produce an upset in. But I do think the Swans will be too strong. They looked really good last week. Hard to go against them. 38-point win this week. This is my ladder after round 7. I'll have Sydney going up to the top. That top 4 staying the same, all being 6-1. And then I still do have North Melbourne on the bottom being 0-7. Feel free to pause if you want to have a better look. Alright, so going back over my tips this round, they are Melbourne, Collingwood, GWS, Port Adelaide, Adelaide, Carlton, Western Bulldogs, Gold Coast, and Sydney. But we do have some brilliant games this week, so feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Back to a 9-game round. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Send you guys never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much. Bye everyone. Flame Footy out.